Hey everyone,
Good morning, everyone.
we're just getting situated, getting our demo in place. Welcome to all the Gophers filtering in. We're back at an earlier time. Let us know if this is actually more preferable because we've been doing these a little later on Thursday, and want to know if this time is actually better for you because it's something we could potentially do moving forward.
Maybe I
Hey
like the
Blue.
11 o'clock spot.
Well, maybe you do, but maybe spoke too soon.
um,
It's a nice way to start the day. It's not that we start at 9. We tend to be starting around. Well, let me see your last log in your first message in Slack today, Brendan. Yeah, we're generally starting around 7 a.m., 6 a.m. So it's not exactly the
I
first
really
thing you
like
want to
doing
do.
workouts in the morning. Like that's the thing. Like for the last, I would say month, you can hear I've got a bit of a cold today, so bear with me if I'm a little bit bunged up today. I'm going to be going a little more slowly and steady this morning. I'm just trying to find the stream link so as I can repost it to my feed as well. Okay, cool. That's gone live. Let me just do this. But yeah, what a crazy couple of weeks, everyone. It's been insane. Gold, all-time highs, silver going berserk, AI going mental, AI meta going crazy. It's been absolutely insane. Um, yeah, I'm just reposting the tweet now. So as we
Yeah,
get,
if anyone else is on the feed, always appreciate a repost from the Gopher community as well. We're really starting to get tractions. A lot of people lined up requesting to be guests. Hope you enjoyed last week's guests, Semantic Layer. We'll have more of those in the future. But given how busy we've been on releases, you may or not notice, but two huge releases yesterday, which is going to be the focus of our chat today. Um, we thought we'd keep it Gopher today because there's so much to go
yeah,
through. Oh,
yeah.
Zach's mic
There's
is super low.
That's interesting. I feel like I can. How's my mic, guys? Is it good? I'm actually going to jump into the chat as well. I normally do lurk in the chat at times. Um,
Maybe, hopefully that's better, everyone. Thanks, Elias. Elias, sorry. If I'm pronouncing that or butchering it, let me know.
um, yeah, and today I'm going to be showing you as well, like some of the tools that I use internally, um, that are going to help you get up and running with code if you've never coded before. So, like, I think that one of the really, really impactful things about the time that we're in is that we can use AI to leverage so many different things. So I'm going to give you a bit of like a glimpse into some of the coding tools we use. I'm trying to think if the one that I use has got like a free tier. I think it does. And it may just make getting up and running with some of the like command line tools potentially a little bit easier, if you were to use one of these. And to be perfectly frank, like knowing to use one of these tools is honestly a really big, like I would say, value add for you in the world that we're now about to step into. So I think along with like trading alpha, will give you some insight into how you start using these tools to move faster and just give yourself more leverage outside of just trading. And obviously we're here for like trading and getting alpha, but I think that this is also going to be really interesting as well. So Brendan is high and Zach is low. Um,
I'm going to stay close to the mic and very much project. Hopefully that works.
yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna turn my volume down. So I'm going to turn my mic volume down. Okay, put it down to 80. So Zach, do you want to speak and see if we're level? And then people can turn their volume up, so we
Okay,
both go up.
what I've done is changed my mic settings to not automate and hopefully be louder. So I hope this is smooth.
Yeah, the auto adjust is bad.
Yeah.
I
Auto
set mine
adjust
to
off.
80. Yeah,
What did you
yeah,
set
I
yours
set
to?
mine to
80.
80.
All right,
Yeah,
let me do that. The same here.
cool, cool. Great.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we're moving so fast that like Zach and I think every time we start, it's like, oh yeah, we should do like a proper like intro and have some music and start professionalizing this, which I really want to do, but then everything else takes over, and then we're another week on, and here we are with you guys. And like I said, forgive my slightly disheveled look today. I've been under the weather with a cold, and it's not going to impact what we're doing together today. But Zach, why don't we kick off? Like we like to sometimes start off with kind of what we're seeing in the space and what's going on in kind of the macro. Like I often think I live in a complete echo chamber of AI because I see shit on X all the time, and then I ask people, "Have you seen like X, Y, Z?" And most people haven't seen some of these things, like Ralph loops at the beginning of January. I think it's probably broken through to the community because of Jeffrey and the Ralph token going viral on Bags .fm, which is like another like creator meta, which even I've been kind of caught up in. Not here to talk about that today. We're here to really focus on what we're doing with Gopher, and Gopher, as a disclosure, will not be launching a token on Bags. We have a separate token that's going to be launched, and that is not something that Gopher will be doing. Just to be very, very clear and transparent with everyone. And you know, I'm sure you've all seen Claude, spelled CLAW,
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Claude, like that. They actually changed to molt because lobsters molt their shell and they got sued by Anthropic, so they had to molt their brand and like evolve into molt. Um, it's clever, but I still don't think molt is that great of a brand. But I love the work that Claude has done. Similar to a lot of the research that I've been doing, kind of on the in my kind of spare time on this project called Eva, where Eva runs a lot of our internal processes at Gopher, like business operations, helps us do drafting, managing like a lot of different communication channels, and is a really powerful tool that kind of was born out of a need to very similar to what we're building at Gopher, get more time and leverage AI to exponentially increase your productivity. And we're in this phase where I think I spoke about it 2 weeks ago with Zach, where beginning of October, Claude Opus 4.5 was released, and it was such an insane paradigm shift from where we were before. Really, really similar to the paradigm shift that I felt like I experienced with GPT 3.5 when it launched. And stuff just started moving so fast, and it really feels like qualitatively, it feels like we're on the brink of AGI. And my wife just bought me some food, thank you. And haven't eaten this morning. And AGI can be defined by a very different manner of things. I think it could be like, for a lot of people, like, does it feel like it's intelligence? But it's also like the productive output that these kind of intelligent systems give us. And the step change we had from pre-December to now has just been crazy. And when I think that things are already moving quickly, 3 or 4 months ago, it's nothing compared to how quickly things are moving today. We are going to see one-person billion-dollar companies. We're going to see companies transforming to very, very small teams that are only focused on specialization of orchestrating agents to do work. It's still early, but don't get trapped in the notion that early means the same as it has done in the past, because early in the past has been predicated on the fact that you can't do many iterations quickly. And for humans to get really good at stuff, there's this guy called Malcolm Gladwell who published a book where, in the book that he published, he outlined that to get become like a a master at something, you needed to spend 10,000 hours working on this thing. And we're now at a stage where really it's like 10,000 iterations, and the speed at which you can do 10,000 iterations has compressed to such a small degree that it's no longer 10,000 hours. So like
Mm.
the speed at which things are moving are absolutely insane. You're going to feel this. You're going to feel this as we ship stuff. You're going to feel this
Mm.
around you. And there is just this massive transformation happening all around us that
Mm.
like if you step back, if you think there's an AI bubble now, I'm here to tell you there's not an AI. There is not an AI bubble now. Like we're nowhere near a bubble. Like it's going to get really really crazy.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything to add, Zach, from
Yeah,
what you kind of see?
I'm just I'm interested given the meta narrative we you mentioned Claude, uh, Claude, now rebranded to Molt, and we're beginning to see platforms like that unleashing agent swarms that apparently can do everything, and the fact that we're early. So there's been a lot of buzz just this last week around that product, and
Yeah,
if you're paying attention, there are other entrepreneurs taking their cue, scrambling and trying to move quickly in order to create similar tools that do different things. But the one thing, and this is going back to early, that we're noticing, Brendan, is some traders are trying to utilize those tools and those releases to create agent swarms that trade. And what we're seeing, and there's one particular example I highlighted to you, to Brendan, and I'll pop it in the chat in a moment, where someone tried to do the exact same thing with Molt, with an agent swarm, and it was less than performative, did really badly. And it's also reflective of some of the LLM trading competitions that we've seen as well, where
yeah,
there was a lot of excitement at first, and we found that they weren't performative and weren't making the right decisions. So I want to bring it back to Gopher a little bit and ask you a question like, why do you think Molt in particular wasn't successful in, or that individual that used it for their early trading experiment wasn't successful, and how we're taking an approach with Gopher that is very use case specific to launching agents and trading strategies utilizing these tools, because that's the key difference here, is that we are specialized in that world and have been testing for a long time and are seeing different outcomes to the ones we're seeing these early traders using agents across the board. Like, what are we doing here, and why are we seeing performance as opposed to these other platforms?
yeah. So I'm going to use like the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours analogy as, what it takes to master a system, right? If you were to spend 8 hours a day, it would take you 3.5 years to bank 10,000 hours and become an expert. That's the length of time it takes. So that's like a full-time job, right? Like if you're working on this full-time now, I've now been working and coding with AI for almost 3 years. So I'm probably, given the fact that I don't work 8 hours a day, I work like 17 hours a day. I'm probably at 10,000 hours of working with AI. Probably in a significant advantage to other people that have come late. Like I first picked up GPT 3.5. I'm not the earliest. There are people that are way earlier than this and started coding with it almost 3 years in March of this year. It'll be 3 years in March. Um, and what that length of time does in using these systems, it makes you really understand the way in which they think, reason, and operate. And when you look at the way that people are sort of just assuming that an LLM is a human and can reason like a human, they're making a fundamental mistake. LLMs today need rigorous and extremely structured prompting and guidance, guardrails, harnesses to give them a maximized output. When you put those harnesses and guardrails around them, they perform exceptionally. If you're a human being and you're in a noisy room and there are 5 people asking you to do something, you're going to struggle to do those 5 things well. If you're in a quiet room where you've got focus and you're just narrowly doing one thing, it's very likely that you'll do it really, really well. The same thing is here for LLMs. So if you give an LLM without any guardrails a view of the market, like trade this asset, that's like giving a toddler, $10,000 and giving a toddler a hyperliquid account and giving a toddler 10x leverage and expecting them to do well. Like, it's not going to happen. And like as you go through this cycle, like I have, of using LLMs through this cycle, when honestly, like 2 years ago, they're pretty shit. Like to get results out of an LLM 2 years ago, you had to really, really tune it well and know how to harness it to get the best out of it. And that means that it positions us from a research perspective very well, very, very well to understand how do you now translate this. Like the idea that you can just say, Claude agent, go out and trade this asset and make me money. Again, going back to my toddler analogy, that's like giving a toddler, a trading account and expecting them to do well. Good traders have spent 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours, 50,000 hours, have gone to school, have lost so much money learning. We're expecting this entity that's got no experience in trading other than observing a data set, which is not specifically tuned on data to do well. Well, that's going to fail. I mean, that's the only outcome that's probable. So what we have done a completely different approach. And the approach we've done is say, okay, we need to take this toddler through school. We need to understand the way in which it behaves, it interacts. We need to understand where it makes its mistakes. We need to understand where it performs really well. We need to put guardrails around these things. A good example here, setting stop losses, identifying date ranges. Those are 2 things that LLMs are notoriously bad at, like so bad. LLMs are trained on data from last year. It will conflate 2025 dates to 2026 dates. It will sometimes think that the price of Bitcoin is 60K because when it was trained on the data, the price of Bitcoin was 60K. So you can always tell when an LLM was trained because you can ask for a price of an asset. And if it doesn't have a connection to the internet to be able to browse what the current price is, it will give you a value that was from when it was trained. So you can do that with any kind of data, but like pricing data for the context of Web3 is really interesting. So it has all of this stuff where it can't it doesn't have the right, it hasn't read the textbook, it hasn't gone to school, it doesn't have the manual, and you have to give it that manual, and you have to give it, like training wheels, and you have to give it all these other things. And if you do that, and then you put it in a room where all it is focused on doing one thing really, really well, they perform really highly. If you put them in a noisy room with too much information, they perform really badly. You'll see this when you're using these platforms. Like they hallucinate frequently. But we've gone through, I think, at this point in time, tens of billions of tokens, seeing all of this, understanding it, and also not starting from the position of, oh, let's just let an LLM trade. Like we didn't even start there. We started way more forward from that. We were like, let's use an LLM to loop through its decision multiple times to see whether or not each decision it makes matches. If it can't make a consistent decision each time it reasons, then it's not ever going to trade well. So if an LLM cannot reproduce the same output, you're never ever going to have it trade well, because that's like me waking up one day and being like, oh, having a good trading day today, and then going out and drinking. I don't drink that same night, and then coming in the next day and being consistent. Inconsistent trading is what really nukes you. So for us, what you've all seen, all of your testing over the last month, like what we've been building, has really been culminating into. I'm going to start sharing my screen.
Oh dear, just at that point, we appear to have lost Brendan just at the intro. Let's hope he joins back in a second. Oop, he's popped in.
Looks like I rugged myself.
And he's gone.
Uh, has everyone seen that South Park meme? We got you some crypto, sir, and it's gone. That's money, isn't it, in this account? Okay, so what I got up here is our new all singing, all dancing docs, not developer docs. Like developers can use them, but these are our user centric docs. Um, this was a huge amount of work to put this together, but as many of you know, like we have this particular workflow. We have this evolved strategy workflow where an LLM will take two inputs. It will take like the view of the market. So if we were to look at Bitcoin today, we can see that Bitcoin is you know what? Let's use our own platform. Cool. Here we go. So we can use we can see Bitcoin here, and this is like a monthly ranging market. You know, we got low at 80, high at 96. It's ranging between those two points, and until it breaks out of that, it's in a ranging market. This is the regime the market's in. This was a downtrending market. The regime this market in was downtrending. So the evolved strategy agent looks at the market, determines what regime it's in, and then uses the regime to come up with an idea or a concept for a trading strategy. It will do this using semantic reasoning, along with mathematical reasoning, using indicators, candlestick data, candlestick patterns, volume flow, and we'll add very soon now exogenous data sources like open interest, liquidation data, trading patterns, on-chain flows, you name it, you can bring these in so as the agent can take a view. And this is really similar to you. Like when you're coming in and you're looking at the market and you're developing a strategy, you're thinking, okay, like is the market over leveraged? Is the market, trading thinly? All of these different variables go into then saying, okay, I'm going to now trade the market in this way. And the LLM decides, like, I'm going to trade it in this way based on its observation of the market. There is also in the release itself, and I'll load up the Mac app in a minute, and I'm going to load it using and showing you how to use the full flow, so as you kind of understand how to get up and running in like 2 seconds. It will also take an input where you say, devise a strategy or create a strategy that is trend following, never go long. And that will give it guidance on where it should start its strategy. We've had a request from the community to actually have like a pure prompt that is defined by the user. We will add that really, really quickly. So it kind of skips the agent creating that first strategy. It will start with your defined strategy and then evolve that going forward. And what this does in loops, and let me actually pull up, let me just pull up the latest release that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to load my dev instance here. Give me 1 second. And this is Cursor that I've got up here. So for those of you that want to try what I'm doing here, I'm going to be showing you some like cool things that you can do. And I'm just going to show you the current dev instance. This is the same version that's released in DevDocs. So if you're going to go and use the version in DevDocs today, it's the same that I'm using here. The last release I put out, maybe like an hour ago, we put out matches this. And up here is a strategy actually that graduated. And I'm going to show you that live trading in a moment as well.
Brendan, before you dive into these technical weeds, I just want to call out that Community Manager doc has included the link to the GitHub.
Nice.
Within awesome. The chat. And I know you're so excited about the technicalities of what you built, but want to set the context for everyone here who's just joined us or has joined us. Yesterday's release gave the ability for anyone to download, whether you're a Windows user or Mac user, the tool and application that Brendan
or Linux as well, if you're a Linux user as well,
or Linux that Brendan is about to show you. I, as a non-technical user, was able to get into GitHub, download the Mac version, and start using all of this functionality. So, although Brendan is showing the technicality of how this works, this is incredibly user friendly. And for someone with me with basic trading knowledge, was able to create back testing strategies, of which Brendan's going to go into. But this is incredibly user friendly and easy to get into and easy to start experimenting with. I'll hand it back to
Yeah.
you,
So
Brendan.
yeah, no, it's all good. So I'm just gonna kind of show you like what's happening here. So within this loop, we've got this evolved strategy, and you can see in my history, this is a Tau strategy that at the bottom here, when it started, you can see these timestamps. Um, it was consistently losing. Like the strategy which was defined here um, was really performing poorly. As it iterated through cycles, it builds up a map of compressed data that allows it, as you can see here, to evolve and improve until finally it starts hitting, a good target Sharpe ratio. Like above 2 would be really amazing, but like this is getting pretty good. A good win rate and a good P&L. The period that this was backtesting on was 30 days. So it's from the 16th of January to the 16th of December in this period. So it included like a change in regime if you're looking at smaller timeframes, because Tau did rally after the Christmas. Let's take a look. It did rally after the Christmas sideways chop to 300 on lower timeframes. So you can see here, this was like the 16th here. We had sideways, sideways, sideways till the 30th, and then uptrend, and then even down to the, topped out the 17th. So it included a sideways regime and an uptrend regime. It would be really good now to run this model through in this downtrend to see if it performs well. But we had 2 regime shifts within this kind of period. And we'll talk a little bit more about how regime shift is going to change the way that the actual active trader works. I'll kind of go on to that in just a moment. Wow, so much stuff going to be released and has been released. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, this is what's going to start happening in life. Like the amount of information that's going to come like flooding towards you is going to exponentially increase, and there's going to be a point where you're going to have to use AI to really synthesize how quickly things are going, because everything's just going to move so fast. So here I've been running this evolved strategy process. Let me just resize my screen a little bit. You can see all these screenshots on my desktop where I've been sharing stuff with you guys. And this has been running through this evolved strategy. Once it graduates, it goes through a 100-run test with Monte Carlo that's done in parallel to make it faster. Not 100 in parallel, I think it's like 5 in parallel for 20 tests. It takes, sometimes a good period of time if you're testing over a longer period. We're exploring ways to speed up back testing, but they're all going to be iterative improvements we do in the future. And then once it's graduated, it goes into live trading. And in the desktop apps, live trading is not available. It is available in the CLI. And I'll just quickly show you that this is actually connected. This is using and I'll walk through this in a minute. I'll walk through how this all gets set up. This is using the winning strategy from here. So the live trading queries trades. And then if I hit return, it's going to load all of Hyperliquid's assets, and it's starting this Tau momentum strategy, which I've actually defined here in this file. It's loading that, and then every 15 minutes, it will check the market, and it will decide whether or not it's going to place a trade based on where the market is. And you can see here, decision is to wait. The market is in a downtrend below these levels, and volume is also, these logs are truncated. I've got to do a little bit of improvement in logs. If the logs are too verbose, it can crash on certain machines. If the logs are too short, it's not very helpful. So bear with us, like logs tuning is something that's going to happen. But this is using this kind of quick start script to take the strategy that is has been used, and running this. Cool. So I just stopped this, so it isn't actually running in the background and trading. So this is how this works. You go through your setup, you evolve your strategy, you validate your strategy, you go into live trading, and as the model trades, the trades also then go back into back testing. So when your back testing catches up with where you are today, like the back test will eventually catch up to current. It will then use and analyze the current trading outcomes to further improve and evolve the strategy that's being traded live. And that will then go out to the trading agent that's trading the current strategy. And as I mentioned on last week's Alpha for Everyone, we'll have a scenario where this will be released, I think, probably next week. There'll be a swarm of agents that all trade different regimes. So you would have a specific agent trading this sideways regime here. You would have a specific agent trading this uptrend, a specific agent trading this, and a specific agent trading this downtrend. So that's our next big update. Like, we're going to be running a lot of agents ourselves, live trading our own strategies. And I'm going to pause there, Zach. And before I kind of get into like how you get up and running, which is like my next step, just wanted to see if you had any notes or questions or comments, basically.
None from the community so far. They are avidly watching and wanting to learn. Really looking forward to getting into the actual setup. I think we're good to see how that works. Let's get into it.
Cool. So really quickly, like for those of you that want to not use the app, you can use this platform called Cursor. Cursor is the tool that I'm using here. It has like an AI in your sidebar. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to clone the Gopher repo, which is at this URL. You're going to see a lot of repositories on here because you have a lot of private repositories. And you go here and you basically just clone the repo to your computer using GitHub Desktop or anything else. And when you have that in here, you can add it to a workspace, or you can open the Gopher folder here. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I'm leaving this this is our internal code base. I'm going to leave this in here. And what I want to do is I'm going to show you how easy this can be for you to get up and running. So I'm just put at Gopher, and what this is doing is tagging the folder here at Gopher. Let's just do, if I'm on Mac, help me get up and running with Quick Start for Tau. The SH version is for Mac. The PS1 is for Windows PowerShell. So if you're on PowerShell, you can do this. I'm going to click here. And what the agent is doing in Cursor is it's reading the Quick Start, and it's going to give me the option to run the command without knowing anything. Now, it's also going to tell me how I do this. So it's going to give me an actual guide here. So the guide that I'm getting here, if you don't read the docs, it will tell you how to do this. I can also go in here and say, read the docs. And the docs that are in the Gopher repo are the same public docs that I showed you here. So absolutely, 100% go through. This gives you an overview of the Gopher platform. This walks you through the Mac OS X installation. This walks you through the Windows installation. And then this walks you through the CLI. The CLI right now is going to be the most developed because it's faster for us to move quickly, faster for us to release. The Windows and the Mac version is typically, I think, for a bit of time, maybe a couple of weeks, going to be a little bit behind the command line version. Command line version has live trading in it. So you can live trade with the command line. There's a lot more kind of guides and setup guides that we're doing here. We're going to start doing some YouTube shorts and really kind of like give you a lot of like easy to consume information that is not only easy for you to consume, but also easy for like the LLM to consume as well. Read the docs and let me know how to go from evolution to live trading with, let's say, Zcash. Okay, so we've got two pathways. We can use Cursor. Cursor's amazing, love Cursor. Or you can use this guide here and go through the traditional docs. I'm not going to go through it line by line. You could also, Control A and copy this into Claude, or I'm not a ChatGPT fan. Going back to what we were talking about earlier with LLMs making bad decisions, GPT is very sycophantic. It always wants to please you. That doesn't make a good trader. You'll notice we use Qwen models a lot. Qwen models are built very differently. They're not people pleasers. They're fact drivers, built by Alibaba. So they're very, very they're culturally different to Claude and Gemini and others that are definitely catering for a different market. And you can really see that in the way these LLMs work. So let's go back to Cursor. What's it told me? Okay, cool. So here we go. I've got this really nice kind of breakdown. It's checking what the coverage is. I can even say here, okay, run this for me. You can see down here, these logs that you're seeing here, this is actually the logs for the back end of the mobile app, which I have running. So this is now just going to run through and run tests. I'm not going to get into the weeds of what this is like, but essentially, if you need to, I'm going to stop this. You can use Cursor to guide you through interactively how you should use these platforms. There's no point us building this in the product because it's just not good use of our time. You're better off using this platform that's specialized with Gopher. It will tell you how to set up the trader's YAML file, and like I said, there's a fair amount of additional documentation, a fair amount of additional user guides. So once you've got installed, you're going to go to your quick start. You're going to want to get API access. API access right now you can get from the Gopher platform. Our disclosure, our pricing on here is not finessed yet. If you would like some credits, reach out in our GoTrader channel. We'll give you free credits right now. The pricing needs adjusting. We have a rounding of usage that rounds usage up. It means that the usage through our platform is way higher than what it should be. Hence, we're just kind of giving you all free credits so you can test it and kick the tires and give it a spin. But we'll be changing this and updating this in probably the next week or so. So get your hands on it while you can. Or you can use an Open Router key, which is publicly available, or you can use OpenAI. And this will take you through the configuration. You can use the configuration in the CLI, or you can also use the configuration in the mobile app. You can see here that my current backtest is, just telling me to wait. If I go into my settings, you want to go to models. Actually, it's in general at the bottom. You can see here that I have put in my Gopher code. I've got 84,000 credits. You can similarly put in an Open Router key or an OpenAI key. I'm actually going to move OpenAI because I think they're garbage for trading and we shouldn't even support it. So at some point I will remove this and we'll just have Open Router. But with Open Router, they have thousands of models. If you want to experiment with a specialist time series model, you can add a custom model in here that is available on Open Router, and you can use that. And then you simply have to change okay, what model are you using in your outer loop, which is your kind of fund manager or your PhD quant. You want that actor to have the best model. So it uses less inference, but it costs more. And then we have the inner loop model, which is actually doing the grunt work. And you want that to be on a lower model. And the one that we like is the Qwen 3 VL, which is actually a vision model, but it's very cost effective for what it does. And never use thinking models down here. Never use thinking models. Always use instruct models, because when the LLM thinks, it's already been given a bunch of information by the model maker to guide that thinking, and you want to remove that. You want your infant to have no other training before you get hold of it, and then when you get your infant, you're going to train it and you're going to make it this crack trader. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here like default configs and like some other things, which you just don't need to worry about these right now. I'd focus just on your API key and stick with these defaults. These are the defaults. These are the two models that we support through Gopher. And if you want to experiment with thousands of other models, you can do with OpenRouter. And there's just like an infinite number of fucking models on OpenRouter. We do support Llama, but I haven't tested it recently in this version. It needs a bit of testing. So you can even use like a local model to do this as well. Like Kim, the model that just came out, like we need to be testing that locally because it can run on very low power devices and is almost, arguably better than Claude. So every week there's something new coming out. Every week you should be testing something new. And this is how in the desktop version, you can configure your parameters. And this is an overwhelming amount of like information to consume. So again, go back to your tool, like the LLM, to help you better digest and better understand how to do this. And you'll move much more quickly. Your 10,000 iterations of learning will happen far faster than grinding away. So anyways, we've gone through like model selection. The quick start is here. Configuration is here. This is all just like a lot of detail on what I just told you. You then want to get your strategy evolution going. This was a feature request from BAM about having custom strategy prompts. This is just to prompt the agent in a direction it wants to go in. Like, I want you to start having strategies that are aligned with this approach. We're going to extend this so as you can actually provide the first seed strategy that it iterates from. I want to get that out today, but it may not happen today. And then it has some good examples of prompts, like, bad prompt, make money trading. Okay, cool. Don't do that. Focus on momentum breakouts, enter long when price breaks, blah, blah, blah. And you could put in here, like, do not trade on weekends, do not trade on Fed announcements. If open interest is over X, do not trade. If open interest is over Y, if volatility is above or below this, you can get really creative. And this is where semantic reasoning, using the LLM as a semantic reasoning like virtual machine is really, really important. So again, like momentum breakout strategy, trend following, all these kind of things. You have your quant that you can work with to develop these strategies in the same way that, like, you have this agent here working with you to help you understand the product. Got some troubleshooting here, really helpful feedback from people last night that were experiencing issues. Everything you give us feedback, issues you find, bugs you find, things aren't clear, it's going to go straight into troubleshooting and or frequently asked questions. And then if you want to contribute, there's like a clear outline of how you report a bug. It will take you straight into creating a bug issue in GitHub. You will need a GitHub account though, but that takes like a couple of minutes to set up. And then you can also request a feature. In an ideal world, I would like to have these in the app, but it's not important for us to develop that right now. So if you can use this, or if you need to, dump it into our Telegram group, and then Luca will triage it from there. But it's likely that GitHub issues will be attended to first. So if you really want something, put it here. And it's likely that this will have priority because the issue here flows into an AI workflow with another agent that we have that scopes the PRD. It surfaces that PRD to us, we review it, and then we just tell it to go and write the code. So it's like a full like pipeline that comes in and gets worked on.
Brendan, I have a quick question, and I think you covered this, but I just want to make sure for those, because there's obviously traders and developers of different skill levels here. You obviously use Cursor to help with the setup, but is my
Hmm.
understanding right that obviously Cursor is optimal, but you could more or less go through the same setup flow and help with a standard LLM like Claude, for example, if you were to need to, or are you losing some of the
No.
functionality there? Okay.
Yeah. So again, if you put a toddler in a room with no books on the topic it's got to talk about, it's not going to understand what it's talking about. So if I was to go to Claude or ChatGPT online, it wouldn't have all of the context of these docs or the code that's in the repo at the beginning. What Cursor gives you, it gives the agent all of that knowledge. So in the same way that when we give the backtester, the orchestrator agent gives the backtesting agent all of the information on its past history, where it's done well, where it's done poorly. The backtesting agent doesn't have to remember all of that. If it tries to remember all of that information, it's going to fail because it can't cognitively do that. So the orchestrator does the heavy lifting of, all of the really high level synthesis that we would all do when we take a step back and review our strategies. Same thing here. If you start using a tool, it's going to send you in the wrong direction. It's going to make an assumption about something that isn't correct because the assumption it's making is for a topic that it doesn't understand the nuance of. And again, this is what people are misstepping with, like, oh, can this agent trade X? Like, no, it's not going to trade fucking X very well because you haven't given it enough fucking information. Like, so it's the same thing here. So always, like, if you're going to use AI, and there are documentation platforms that have like an AI sidebar, but they're expensive. And I don't think they work that well. Like they're kind of a crappy model. If you're going to do it, use the right tool, is what I would say. That's a good question. That's a really good question. And honestly, like once you've gone through this, and hopefully someone in the community can make like a quick like how-to video of doing this, and we can then like share that with the community. Once you've gone through it a couple of times, it's going to blow your mind, and it is a skill that's going to help you in every walk of life. Like, okay, now write me a X post about this. Cursor is not just for coding. Cursor is for everything. Like, it's going to read the content, it's going to read what I've been doing, it's going to understand the context, and it's going to help me do this. I'm not going to let it output something. I'll let you all kind of think whether or not you want to do that. But these tools are very powerful, really, really
I, li-
powerful in the right hands.
I like how you're challenging myself and the rest of the community to really up level our game here, um, and not be lazy and rely on the simple interfaces and tools that we know. It sounds like, based on how you're building and how the industry, how the world is moving right now, those mastering tools like Cursor are going to win. Everyone who's trying to iterate and build with basic models and the limitations that they have, the toddlers, shall we call them, it will slowly
Yep.
slip away and won't be on the bleeding edge of what is possible to build and take advantage of from a trading perspective. So
Yes.
there's a learning curve, but you have to get there. Is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. 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 Like we have an internal tool called Eva that we built, and it does this. It does this for everything. So like Eva can do this for your documents. It can like text you. It can be proactive. Imagine you just got like an employee that knows everything, like can do everything, but it's constrained within the bounds of the context of your organization. It's constrained within the context, the bounds of your life. This is how AI performs, is by taking this approach.
I'd,
And it
I'd
performs really well.
Nice. I'd love to know from the chat, for the nearly 600 listening, who's on Cursor, who's experimenting with it, because you know we want to provide information and knowledge to everyone, and potentially a Cursor setup tutorial at the very base level before getting into this tool would be something everyone could take advantage of, and something I'd be happy to put together. Let us know if it's something you're comfortable with, if you've already been experimenting with it. It'd be great to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, look, I just saw my trading strategy just tried to place a trade here. Interesting. So it's just tried to go long for 26 tau. It didn't execute because it didn't match against a resting order. This is because I have the strategy set quite rigorously that if there isn't the right amount of depth on the bid or the ask side of the order book, it protects from quite bad slippage. So what this means is it was actually out of like slippage range for tau on Hyperliquid. Um, yeah, so this just happened literally just now. Um, cool. So
I
I
thought
just
you
exited
paused.
that.
I thought you paused that guy.
I,
Did he
I, I
still?
started it. I started it off screen just to see if it would execute a trade.
Nice.
um, yeah, cool, cool, cool. And there's still some bugs. So like I would recommend like I think I put it in my post I put out yesterday. Um, I've seen a lot of people developing this stuff, and it's almost like you say this so as people do more of what you're saying they shouldn't do. But like, don't trade with this right now. Like, don't use it for live trading. Um, that's all I'm going to say. If you want to use it for live trading, great. But like, I would recommend don't use it right now. We've got a lot of iterations to go through. If you're going to use it with very small amounts. Like, uh, 20 26 tau long. I need to size that down. That's a little bit too big. I don't want it to be executing that kind of size right now. I want it to be executing much smaller sizes. So there's a fair amount of internal testing going on. We'll start actually like publishing live results that we've been seeing. Um, the team is actually out together next week, all working in a location, and we'll be executing really fast to move things even faster. Zach, am I missing anything here, mate? Like I think that we've got pretty much into the weeds with everything. Is there anything I'm missing?
No, I think that was
It's a lot, as always.
a great rundown. Compressed 1 week of very intensive work and
Excuse
late
me.
nights into, bless you, into 45 minutes, which is a challenge of itself. I'm going to be very active in the Go Trader channel, which I believe Doc posted in the comments here over the next hour, helping to support anyone get up and running. As Brendan also mentioned, and Doc, if you could throw it up, the bug reporting link on GitHub. So that's not just bugs, that's also feature requests. And it can also be non-technical requests like what do I understand? What kind of guides would be helpful? What kind of content would be helpful in order to take advantage of this?
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a feature. It can be, hey, I'm really excited by what I saw, but I don't understand XYZ. Could you help explain that on our next session or through some uh, easily understandable tutorial content? So it's not. I think we did we cut out for a second there.
Maybe a
We have
little,
about
but you're back.
200 more individuals than we had last. Okay, we have about
Yeah, you're back.
200 more individuals tuned in as opposed to last week. So welcome to all the new eyes and ears out there. We're really glad to have you as part of this community. This is our regular session whereby we update you on trading alpha across the board and AI trends, and then Brendan, as he has done, goes into a deep product dive to show you how to take advantage of the tools we generally release on a week by week basis. Two big releases yesterday, which he went through. Um, yeah, Brendan,
Yeah.
any other things you want to say before we call it on the
No,
hour?
not
Three
at
minutes
all.
left.
Just really appreciate everyone's feedback. Looking forward to seeing you all in the trenches over the next week or so. Thanks for being patient with us. Like what we're building is like a really big endeavor here, and as you can see, there's a lot of people failing, and we're taking a very different approach. That approach is written up in the X post that I put out yesterday, and the goal here is, to have your team or your army of quants all analyzing and executing and trading in the market while you sleep. Achieving that goal is like, you know, lofty, but the speed at which the pace at which the space and technology is moving right now is absolutely insane. So, um, yeah, get your hands on it. You'll see multiple releases today, tomorrow, Friday that are all fixing bugs. But I would like I said, don't live trade with it right now. Like if you want to, great, but use small amounts. And babysit what you're seeing and try and get some good back tests first and get some good results. There'll be way more improvements happening over the next week, which is only going to take it, much, much higher and better from here.
Thank you, Brendan. This video and live stream is just for educational purposes and should not be constituted as financial advice. The regular disclaimer here. Take note of what Brendan just said. This is new. This is cutting edge. Start testing conservatively and let us know what you think.
Have a great day, everyone. Great to see you. See you in the trenches.
Bye bye now.